Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Matt Burke, Runecutter, and he has his own YouTube channel, Metal Movies and Brewskis. I was on that last Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Last
It
Saturday
was
night.
fun. Good
Yeah.
times.
And you're coming here. You're also well. We talked about comic books and music on your channel, so as much as I'm into comic books, at one point I got to say I calmed down now, but at one point I was just as much into music as I was comics, and I was
Yeah.
chasing every band and buying 45s and going to clubs and it just you gotta you, you kind of just can't keep up that intensity, and unfortunately the music kind of went. But
Yeah.
so like it's funny. The last new band I got into is like 10 years old already, and I'm like, oh wow, this is dude. Their first album came out. It's new to me.
It's like, where did it go, right?
Yeah, have you heard of Freedom Hawk?
Yeah. It's learning about new bands. That was fun. Like when people come on my show, I always ask them. I try to, what your favorite metal band is, and usually people have one. It's
Yeah,
funny. They always have one.
Freedom Hawk is like like the singer sounds like Ozzy, but it's like catchy, like pop punk metal,
Yeah.
and they're real good. The other new to me bands, Cadaver, I think they're from Switzerland or Sweden.
Okay.
And it's just three guys. They look like they stepped out of 1974, transported through time, and because I'm not a speed metal guy like Slayer and stuff like that. Like I respect them as musicians, just not my thing. So when I heard the name Cadaver, I'm like, oh, they're gonna be like, but
yeah,
they sound like a stripped down 3-piece heavy rock metal band from the 70s. Like they must use like bare minimum recording techniques. I just can't stop listening to them. And then the other band is Big Business.
Big Business. Okay.
Big Business. It's two guys. I think it's like a drummer and a guitarist. And I think if they do bass
themselves,
it's just the loudest like thing ever. And he like, this is two guys. And my friend confirmed. He said he saw them live, and he goes, yeah, it's two guys. And they make a music that sounds like a full band.
Oh, tracks, and they play it through their PA system. Probably.
I
know metal bands do that. Some metal band, was it Anal Nathrak? That band does it. I heard them on because
those are my three new metal bands.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I got it.
And all of them are old, but they're new to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's always good though, man. Like it's always getting fresh new music. Like for me, I listen to everything, but it's just like I always fall back in metal. So I mean, there's a lot of peaks in different genres, different subgenres of metal, man. And it's just I don't know. Or oldies.
I know you're younger than me because most people on the planet are younger than me. But may I ask your age?
Yeah, I'm 40. Yeah.
Okay. So what was like your first band?
First band that I was really into?
Yeah, like that. Like when I talk about comics, like Fantastic Four was my comic. What was your first band?
Oh man, that's like it's weird because like I'll look back, you know what I mean, and try to keep looking and thinking, you know what I mean. It's just hard because I really grew up listening to like Boston and really liking Boston and Van Halen. Like that was pretty
do you have older brothers?
I had cousins and uncles. You know what I mean? They were into it. They kind of got me into it. So I think the whole like that guitar harmony for both those bands really did a big what's the word?
Me, without a doubt, the first band that I got like obsessed with, because there was always classic rock mouse. There was always Led Zeppelin, the Beatles stuff, but it was the Doors. Like I went, I got all their albums on cassette tape, memorized their songs, knew all, started learning facts about them and everything. And then my brothers, they got into whatever they got into. Like one of them was more into like Southern rock and everything. And around 76, I mean, I was still a kid, started getting into punk and Ramones and stuff. And my older sister, believe it or not, she started bringing home like Ramones and Patti Smith.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of went in that direction. And that was me. So it was like this classic rock kid and then punk rock. And I was the only one in my family. It's, like I guess when you have a big family, you try to get something that's your own.
Yeah. Your own identity.
Yeah. And then punk rock. And then, oh man, I'm going to say up until like the 90s, I'm like almost 2000. It was all punk rock and then alternative. And then somewhere around 2005, I'm like, metal. I'm going to listen. But I still don't like that speed metal. I don't like, nothing against it. One of my college roommates was always playing Slayer, and he was always trying to get me into Slayer, and I respected him, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, that's that Bay Area thrash metal. Yeah.
Oh, that's you, Metal Movies and Brewskis.
Yep. There's
Marcus
a lot of
chat.
Matt.
Shadowpunk is my biggest cheerleader. I freaking love Shadowpunk. Shadowpunk. Where do you live? Are you in Europe? I forget. Devil Flyer. I'm going to be on Devil Flyer's channel. I think Sunday, right? I think I'm going to be with you on Sunday. Oh, that's the next comment. John will be with me on Sunday. Yeah, there you go. Devil Flyer is another guy who just he's comic books, true blue comic books. And this is Marcus. He's putting this is my comic book. I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't mention my comic book. I got a live comic right now. I don't know how many of the Brewskis boys are coming in and checking us out, but Heroic Tales #1 is $10, a complete story, a complete backup story. You know, I believe that comic book should be affordable, well drawn, well written, and each issue will build on it, but each issue is self-contained. I feel, especially in the indie market, nothing against the indie market, the guys don't get mad at me. You know, Comicsgate, Iron Age, that it's a long time between issues. So I don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger, you know, and then you know what I mean? So every issue will be self-contained. If I need to tell a bigger story, I'll make a bigger comic. So that's my promise to you. And we're doing pretty good. We're about to unlock the second stretch goal. So
that's awesome, man.
Oh, you're in Arkansas. Why did I think you were in like the Netherlands or something?
He's in Arkansas.
Maybe you're from the Netherlands. You're just in Arkansas. I don't know. You grew up in Michigan. Okay. Shadowpunk has a great comic. To me, it's like I don't think he would get mad if I said it was like a Frank Miller aesthetic. You know, it just, I think good Frank Miller, not the modern Frank. I feel mad saying anything bad about Frank Miller. I love him.
Well, I mean, you know, he's got his ups and downs like everybody.
Yep. And by the way, Arvid thinks I'm from the Czech Republic because of my last name. Well, I don't even know your last name. For all I know, you're Shadowpunk. And let's throw this into, this is your comic. So we'll bring this full circle now. You're also on Fund My Comic, and your comic is called Butch Cleaver. And that's the missing Cleaver brother, right?
Yeah, right.
Leave it to Beaver. Leave it to Cleaver.
Right, the Cleavers. Yes, sir. No. But yeah, that's my book. It's basically like a shop now. It's just a second chance campaign for the second one, and I brought over my first two graphic novels over there, and the first 10 backers are going to get a sketch card by me, and then I have this tier called the Meat Wagon tier where it has straight. Yeah,
I don't know. It just makes me giggle. Plus, I had too much coffee.
Oh yeah, me too, man. And I just got my my Dunkin'. Yeah, it's got 6 trading cards.
What's your coffee of choice?
I switch it up, man. Like for me, like Dunkin' and like Starbucks, that's not coffee. That's kind of just like a treat, you know. For me, like coffee of choice is just, you know, whatever decent, what's on sale. I do that black, and you know, I don't add any sugar to it.
I like the Tim Hortons coffee. Second would be Dunkin' Donuts, but Starbucks is not even part of the equation. But anyway, I interrupted you.
Oh yeah,
So you were doing your spiel.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say with the Meat Wagon tier, with like the first 30 backers, you're gonna get that, which is kind of like a tchotchke tier, but it comes in free for the first 30 backers. 6 trading cards. It's got this wanted poster right here, 11 by 17 of Butch Cleaver. It's also got a it's got 2 6 a.m. comics stickers from Mark Marinelli, 6 a.m. that says, you know, everybody knows who he is. It's got a bumper sticker and a button so you can rock on your battle vest. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff in there. But yeah, that's a little thing about the campaign. It's basically like my store, you know.
Are you the writer? Are you the artist? You everything of the comic?
Yeah, I'm actually the writer, the artist. Yeah, it's very indie. It's something I worked on, you know, for years. The book's been done for a long time. So even my art style, you'll see from book 1 to 2, and my writing, you'll see little things that are changing, which I think is a good thing, you know. Yeah. So I put it out there. And
it doesn't matter how good you are. There's always room for improvement.
Always, man. You know, so.
You know, like Renzo, you could see, like I put the first couple of pages on my comic. Renzo Rodriguez is the artist for Heroic Tales.
Yeah.
He just sent me the last pages. He improved within the comic.
Yeah.
You know? We're not going to go back and redraw everything. That would be ridiculous. But, you know, so yeah, there's always room for improvement. And Marcus, I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't mention that Marcus's sister has a coffee shop in Tarrytown, which is
nice,
not too far away from me, which is used to be called Sleepy Hollow, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, they changed it. My wife and I used to drive up there every Halloween.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place. So Marcus, I promise you, in the autumn, we're going to drive up there again. My wife and I did it 5 years in a row, and then we stopped. And then we'll go back to our tradition. We'll stop at your sister's coffee shop, and I'll drink too much coffee and make a fool out of myself.
That's awesome, man. That's where Brian lives. Yeah, it is huge, man. It's it's pretty big, 11 by 17. I wanted people to kind of feel like, Butch Cleaver, is around and he's worth $3,000, and you can throw your darts at it, drinking your brewskis.
So tell us about Butch Cleaver.
Sure. Yeah. Basically it's not basic, but it's a lot of different inspirations. I've gone into it. It's a gothic fantasy horror Western, and very inspired by I'd say like the Spaghetti West and kind of old like Hammer films, old comic books, EC Comics, stuff like that. But it's not an anthology.
Over here, this is everything that I like.
Oh hell yeah, man! And it's about this like butcher that gets killed and he's brought back to life by a voodoo doll curse. And that hex or curse, what have you, gives him the power to weaponize bone with a single thought. So he's brought back to life, and he is trying to learn how to use these bone powers. Kind of think like Swamp Thing a little bit. You know what I mean? How he's the avatar of the green.
Grow his own bones or other people's bones. Oh my God!
He can do both. He can control any bone on the planet. But he's not OP like all powered. You know what I mean? He can die. He needs to drink whiskey milk. He goes to this bar that he goes to. It's called the Varg Skull. And it's a Viking meat hall saloon. So he goes in there. He has shots with the bartender, which is Vargbjorn or Wolf Bear, and he's a cowboy Viking. I'm trying to basically set up the town. He establishes relationships with his buddies. And there's another barbarian in there named Chieftain Wallace. He's a Cherokee.
Is this set in modern times or is cowboy time?
This is set in the 1800s in a parallel reality to ours.
Okay.
And it's called the town's called Oubliette. And it's comprised of old cathedrals. I wanted to make a town that would just fill with cathedrals.
I'm taken by the name Oubliette. They can't leave.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
An oubliette is a French torture device where you are in a small little room and it's not small enough for you to stand up.
That's correct.
And if you sit down, you don't want to sit down because they pee on you. So the ground is literally feces and pee from the guardsmen. So you're just uncomfortable until you die. It's just horrible. So that's a good name for a town.
Thanks, man.
You don't want to live in
Oubliette. That knew, like most people don't know. They've heard
I'm a weirdo. I know a lot of useless things.
Yeah, so I did that, and I wanted to, have a reason, to be able to draw the things I want to draw. I want to draw cathedrals. I want to draw saloons. I want to draw, London Victorian era stuff, and kind of jam it into one town, but also make it Southwestern. So you got missions, you got French Quarter buildings, a little Louisiana. You know what I mean? So there's all those little elements in there. I want to draw cowboys, ninjas, ninjas too, Vikings, banditos, pirates. You know what I mean? Everything 1800s and back, in that town. So, and all my comics are going to be in the same universe. So
yeah, I'll get rid of. I'll come back to this comment, but I know what you feel because I named my comic Heroic Tales, so to me that'll give me the freedom to do other stories. So again, I'm taking away your time, but. No. Going forward, it's going to be the patriarch, and then when you flip it over, the other side will be whatever I felt like doing.
That's awesome.
I have another superhero, but I have Western stories I want to tell. I have pirate stories I want to. I have history stories that I want to tell. Futuristic stories, but they're all in the same universe.
Yeah.
And my goal is, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit, but by 20 issues or so. You're going to have a timeline of my entire universe. And
sick.
There's a through line that I'm hoping people will pick up sooner or later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. They're doing that. Titan's doing that now with the Howard verse. I don't know if you saw from Free Comic Book Day. I dropped a review about the Conan book today. But they're doing that. They're putting El Borak in there, Solomon Kane, Dark Agnes, a bunch of different ones. It's pretty crazy.
So it's... I originally wanted to do a horror Western comic.
Yeah.
I thought I was so original. And then I found out that it's something that other people have been doing. I've been in a little bubble for a little while, and now I've come out of the bubble and I'm like, Mike Barron just did Bronze Star, which is werewolves. The sheriff is a werewolf, so he doesn't wear a silver star. He wears a Bronze Star, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
But it ain't gonna stop me. I want to have cowboys.
No, you got to do your own thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff in Butch Cleaver that I've seen people do, you know, and I haven't got around to explore story wise, but I'm still gonna do it. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna put westerns in Butch Cleaver 3. You know?
I have a superhero western, and I'm giving away too much here, but I'm fascinated with the idea of because me and my friends play a role playing game, and every once in a while we get a wild hair. I'm like, okay, we're gonna make up. It's now western, but so one of the NPCs was the Kyoto Kid. So he's a Japanese samurai that got stranded in America throughout the Old West. So he's got the samurai sword, the 6-shoot, you know. So I'm like, I gotta have a comic about the Kyoto Kid. I just think that would be a fun comic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like most people have done, or might have even done the same thing you did, you know, or you're doing something that's similar. Nothing's really original under the sun, you know. It's just how you tweak it a little bit.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. I'm doing a superhero story. Like it starts with a bank robbery, you know. Stops a bank robbery, and then, you know, whatever. So yeah, what do they say? There's only 7 types of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of Tarrytown, have you ever seen Lyndhurst Mansion? No. House of Dark Shadows and Night of Dark Shadows were both filmed there in 19.
Oh snap!
Oh, I don't.
Collinwood. Yeah.
Where is this Lyndhurst Mansion? I don't know. I tried to watch Dark Shadows, and whenever I get into anything new, I have to start at the beginning. And let me tell you, at the beginning of Dark Shadows, it's a chore.
Right? Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
French fries are sick people. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
I grew up in Westchester. I've been to Lyndhurst many times. Oh, so it's a okay.
Oh,
Full Trailer, Mega High Energy, and Wrath of God. Oh, the trailer, the beginning, and Madness. I was just on with Pops.
Pops. Yeah, Pops.
Everybody knows Pops. Lyndhurst is outside territory. I didn't know that. I did not know that. See, I live in New York. There's no way you can know everything. So I think that's great. You're writing and drawing and pretty much publishing your own comic.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to kind of do things my way and kind of build out a world, and maybe one day, like, I'll get better and better, and I could bring people in to my sandbox, have them write some, you know, because I have characters that I'd love to like have one shots, little backstories, you know what I mean? Or even like a series one day, you know. I try to set things up like that, and I'll write a little bit to myself, and then I leave it empty because I want to come back to those characters so I can really have that fun when you know what I mean? Like a gift to myself, like, I could delve into this character.
My goal too, you know, is to make enough money that I can actually have another artist to do 2 comics.
Yes. Yeah. That would be like my dream. Like if I could, I would have probably like 2 books a month. You know what I mean? That would be pretty awesome, you know?
We'll see what happens, but yeah. So you have, okay. I was just about to ask you, and I saw Marcus. So Butch Cleaver #1 is already out, and 2 is already out.
Yeah.
So this campaign this is for 2. Yes. Okay. I'm just looking up. So right now, because unfortunately, I don't know everything that's going on. So I didn't back this yet. So, if I go to this now and I back this, I could get issue 1 and issue 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I live a block from the post office, so I mail them off like every, between 1 to 3 days. You know, I'm mailing stuff off. I already got 6 or 5 backers, so they're getting those free sketch cards and stuff. And yeah, it's been a real hoot, man. It's been a lot of fun. Narwhal picked one up the other day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good because you know how comic book people are completionists. You know, I forget who I've talked to, and even if I remember it, I'm not going to mention names. But he refuses to sell the back issues. It's like, dude, you missed out. You missed out. I'm like, that just means every issue is going to get less and less and less.
Yeah, like for me, I haven't done digital for my stuff. I'm really tangible, you know, and sometimes I kind of want to open up the digital for people overseas, you know. But I still haven't done it, you know. I mean, I don't know.
I had a guy today on Twitter said your comic looks amazing, but since you don't have a digital tier, I can't afford. I'm outside of I said there's a digital tier, and he goes, "Oh, really?" And then backed. Yeah. And I don't know how he missed it. It's the second perk, you know.
Right.
And but I was dragged kicking and screaming to do digital because I'm an old fart and I like having a comic book in my hand. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I got my books right here. You know, like you can pick them up. You know,
how cool was that when you actually had your books in your hand? I can't wait to get my books.
I love it. You know, and like this one's got that shiny gloss. You know what I mean? I love it. And this one, I wanted that kind of like dusty. You know, like really like matte, just with a little bit of.
What printer did you use?
I use Mix'em. Yeah.
I haven't heard of Mix'em yet.
Yeah, I'll probably go with them for my next book. My next book's going to be like magazine size. It's going to be big, like more French style. That's why
you're pleased with Mix'em?
Yeah, I'm pleased with them.
Mixim?
Yeah, they're really good, and I like Greco out of Michigan. Comics Wellspring, they're fucking awesome too.
Yeah, Comics Wellspring, that's what I was leaning towards.
Nice.
Because
they're a little more cheddar bops, but their quality is. I don't care what anybody says.
I think Tonic Bull used it, and I think Brian Bow used it for Wolf and Batsy. So and they're sharing their, whatever this numbers stuff because I never did it before. So of course, now I'm at the scary point. Writing the comic book was fun. Watching the art come in was fun. Getting the art colored was fun. Now I'm redoing the script to match the actual art, and then getting it lettered is fun. But printing, getting the files done, that's scary to me. And then shipping it out to people. That's when it becomes work instead of just a fun hobby. So that's why I'm asking you questions. If
you have any questions, let me know. Again, sure. I'm green, at this. I've been working on the character for 10 years or more, but I'm still green, dude. Like that's not the luxury I have, like I wish I was like, if I go back in time, that'd probably be one thing I would do to like try to get in, learn every style of like creating artistically, like learn airbrush, sculpting, painting. I don't do none of that. I wish I would have done that. I was just grinding in like a grocery store and trying to raise my kids and do that stuff. And I wish I had maybe taken some drawing classes, like lifestyle, but now I'm going to do my best.
I live by a college and I keep thinking I'd like to take a drawing class.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, like even Barron says like he does a lot of drawings and stuff like that, or maybe maybe you're just like a badass artist.
I've been drawing my whole life. I'm terrible at it, but I never took a class. So maybe
yeah, there's nothing that can hurt from like
right. Maybe if I actually learn the craft of it, maybe I'll be decent. I mean, I'll never be Renzo quality, or you know what I mean. But maybe couldn't hurt. It would be fun anyway to take a drawing class. And I still want to take I've taken creative writing classes before I did, but I'd like to take like a.
Why not? Like that's what your labor of love is. You know what I mean? Might as well like try to. Know as much
long. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, man. I would have done that. So now I'm still like really trying to like this year. I'm really focusing on my art, trying to level up. I like to hear little nuggets. Like I'll see an artist and I'm like, damn, that guy draws so good, and then I hear like one little thing that like helped them level up in their art. Like, oh, they did that. Okay, they stopped doing that and they did that. Like, okay, and my art kind of leveled up a little bit about a year ago. I started doing little tweaking things like that, and I can't really explain it, but something will click in my head. I'm like, oh, that looks better than the other shit I did, So, but I guess a lot of it is just doing it every single day as much as possible. Yeah. Forcing yourself.
I talk with a lot of artists on my channel, and then they start talking about the pencils and the inks and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just like, wow, it's just so complicated. My little brother is into music, and he plays guitars. And as much as I talk about comic books, I talk with him and he's just like, yeah, this Fender, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking about pedals and dials and, and he's got like a mixing board in his basement. And I'm just like, I just like playing a record. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I appreciate it. But it's when somebody's really into it, it's kind of intimidating to listen to him talk.
Yeah. It's kind of hard.
How's everybody been treating you? Like, one of the things I do whenever I try to learn something. Like I just learned about Mix'em right now. That's another thing to know about. I'll look them up, see if that's right for me or Comics Wellspring, but I didn't know about them. Yeah, Marcus already put the, you know what I mean? So my point being very inarticulately is everybody's been so helpful, friendly, and loves to share and loves to help.
Oh, yeah.
Has that been your experience also?
Yeah, that's the only way we're going to grow. The only way we're going to keep the comic industry alive, the American format, I guess, it's always going to be around after us too, but keeping it strong, and a lot of the electricity and juice right now is in the fires in the indies. And we have to kind of like find ways to help each other, like level up and do things like that. You know what I mean? We don't have a bullpen. We're all like secluded in here. And I think if we had more bullpens, obviously like this bubble and whatever, this community has different groups, of people. They got their little gangs and whatnot. Yeah. But even hopefully within those gangs, people are kind of doing like their online bullpens, you know, and really helping each other out, you know, as much as possible.
I don't like these factions that are forming, and this guy's fighting with this.
I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. I understand what you're saying.
But that comics, I forget. I got them depressed. I was like, comics are dying. You know, if you look at the numbers, less and less people are you know, we're hardcore into it, and you know, and we're making it and laying out our own money to do it. But in the grand scheme of things, the number of comic book readers is diminishing, and I don't think fighting is going to make it reverse. If anything, it's you know, oh wow, independent comic books. Oh, this guy hates this guy. This guy hates this guy. This guy's calling this guy unfounded names, and this guy's
yeah.
Oh,
for me, I just get really bored.
Watch runs of Batman the animated series. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot. I have so many things that I don't even have time to watch that I actually want to watch. So I can't really watch people fight all the time. I don't have time for it. I got to make books and, you know what I mean, and do other things.
Zach Tan, he always, you know, even if he's busy, he always has a pop in to make a comment. Thank you, Zach Tan.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm talking about. This hard people. It's like all the tourists, I think, are leaving comic books, and I'm hoping, like, can we rise from the ashes again? Like, can we get motivated?
We will. It's going to happen.
I'm a history geek too, and I always I remember that less than 10% of the American colonists wanted a revolution.
Yeah,
and look what happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we could get like an active minority to just not pump out, that's a bad word, but to create good quality comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked Mike Barrett, I said, what do you think we need for Comics Gate, for indie comics, for Iron Age, whatever term you want to use?
Yeah.
He just said, John, it's got to be good stories.
Mm-hmm.
And he's absolutely right. You know, because we got great artists. We got really great, but we need like the Dark Knight Returns or the Watchmen, and that
got to be 50-50. You know, like for me to buy a book, right? It's got to be like for me, I'm more about like the art than the story, you know. But for most people that's going to come back and read the stuff, it's got to be 50-50, dude.
I agree with you. I agree.
Whether it's my opinion or not, that's just reality. Like the stories have to be good.
You know, I'm just going to make up a comic. Phil Moskowitz, that's always the name that I use. Phil Moskowitz has a comic coming out. It might be the best written comic in the world, but if the art is bad, I'm not going to pay attention. Great art will get eyes on the comic. Great art will sell a comic, but good writing will keep you coming back.
Bring them back, yeah. The art sells it, and the comic brings them back, and that cover is really what kind of catches their eye first to even enter that mode of thinking. You know,
you into comics in the image boom.
Yeah, that's like really what kind of got me in. Like early though, I was really into Mad Magazine growing up. You know, but my uncle and my dad and my grandpa were really into the pulps. You know what I mean? My grandpa was really like kind of like a pulp character in real life, like a villain. So he you
got to tell me more about that. What did he do?
Dude, well, he was like a gangster in Detroit that grew up. You know, he has a crazy story. I'm gonna do a graphic novel about him one day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then he went to the Navy. Started building bridges over there. He started smuggling liquor into the Navy. He had a little pet monkey. He was also a world champion boxer. He fought the Marines, the Navy. He beat everybody, knocked people out in 30 seconds. A lot of the stuff, I didn't believe a word of it until I saw the newspaper clippings after he died. And then after that, he got out of there and he became a cop. And as a beat cop, he was robbing banks for 10 years. And I have stuff about the things that he did. It's pretty crazy. Interesting character. 17 different things.
As a cop?
Yeah. And he wore a mask like the Green Hornet, and he was into all the pulps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so he eventually got rolled. He went to prison, served. Yeah, it's a crazy story. He got out, moved out here to California, started a uniform company, sold uniforms, Dickies, things like that to movies, different stuff. You know, crazy story, man. But he kind of got probably my uncle into comics, and then they got, and then my dad, and then they got me into comics, you know, and here's the Phantom, here's the Shadow, here's the Green Hornet. Oh, that's cool, you know, and then okay, well, check out Iron Man, check out Hulk, check out Batman. You know what I mean? So that, you know, a lot of stuff I didn't really find out about him until I grew up later. You know what I mean? But it was all kind of there.
I haven't even started yet, but I never read the pulp. So I again, whenever I get into something, I got to start at the beginning. So I bought the first two Doc Savage. I actually bought one and they gave me two.
I'm reading. I never really got into them either. Not too much, but I knew of them. I'm actually reading. I've been reading just the Savage Tales of Solomon Kane, you know, and I love that format.
I never read any Solomon Kane.
It's $12. It's like that thick on Amazon. Oh man, I can't recommend it more. And they're actually in like canonical order. And awesome. I love how it's just like you got one story and then you got like one illustration or maybe two in there, and you could kind of breathe in the gaps. And it's a different form of multimedia compared to regular comics.
Yeah, the predecessors to comics. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I was like really like, man, I'd love to kind of maybe if we had a little more of those out there or in the back of our things, it's cool.
Well, yeah, Iron Age magazine is kind of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus is saying he's Boss Moxie. That's the name of the bank robber in my comic, Boss Moxie.
Oh, yeah.
He was a construction worker that woke up one day and was like, I'm going to rob banks.
Yeah. No, and my grandpa, he worked 2 jobs too. Even before he started doing that, he worked in a like a hardware plant during the day, and at night he walked a beat. So and then he was taking some drug to keep him awake, and yeah, he had some problems though. So
my grandfather, my Irish grandfather has some stories too.
They do, right? They're all like very Forrest Gumpian. Like, like they had 3 lives or more, and I just did kind of one
IRA
thing.
guy, and
okay.
He had a traveling show, and he would come out very charismatic, and he was a storyteller, which I didn't really understand. But if you ever saw that Dave Allen show, Dave Allen was an Irish storyteller, and he would sit in a chair with a cigar and a drink and just tell stories. And then once in a while they'd put on like a skit or whatever. Yeah. But that's big in Ireland. That's what my grandfather did. He would come out and he would tell stories. What he was doing was distracting you while they were doing whatever trouble they had to do.
Yeah.
And his stage name was Joe Thunder. And I didn't believe any of this. And then when he was going to get married to my grandmother, he's like, I got to let you know, I'm Joe Thunder. And she's like, oh, okay. All right. He's like, you still want to get married? Yeah. And then she tells the landlord, because my grandmother was a ditz and my grandfather got arrested, put on a prison ship, no trial.
Oh man!
For 5 years, gets off the prison ship. My grandmother moved to America. Everybody in his family was gone. Just this crazy story.
Yeah.
Couldn't get into America. He became a Canadian citizen, and then from Canada, came to America. Happened to bump into my grandmother. This is 15 years later, and then they got married, and then had 5. You know what I mean? It's just a crazy story.
I'm really into that, man. Like even for this book, Butch Cleaver 2, you get the origin of Butch Cleaver, and I was gonna leave that off for like 30 years, but because I wanted people to kind of like level with the character, he's kind of like a slasher villain in the first part, the first graphic novel, So I even have like that opening up with his, his family. They're you got them. They're getting married, in Ireland, right there.
Oh, you wrote about my grandfather. Wow.
They're Protestant and Catholics, and they have to kind of force,
No.
So you got both the families kind of hating each other in there.
The Hatfields and the McCoys. God.
Yeah. So they leave. They come to America and they come to Oubliette.
My grandfather called the Protestants the quitters.
Oh man. Kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, those quitters.
Those quitters.
To the point where my mother had to sneak in Beatles records in the house because they were English.
Oh man. That's funny.
So are these complete stories? Like is issue 1 and 2 stories?
Yeah. So what happened was the first graphic novel, I had 3 comics floppies. I put them into one book, right? So it's 72 pages.
Oh wow.
And the second book is just, one book that I never released as a floppy. I did it just straight up through crowdfunding, and it's the first part of the book basically picks up where the last graphic novel picks up. Butch is sitting in the bar and he's like, I got a story for you. They're drinking, and he starts talking about his origin to Chieftain Wallace and Vogbjörn. And then you go into the second half of the book, and that picks up the second half picks up where the first did. So in the beginning, it's the origin. So he kind of gets where he needs to go. He kind of figures out what happened to him a little bit, but there's still more like, oh damn, like he's gonna have to go and get something else because he was murdered. He's trying to solve his murder, and he's trying to solve his father's murder.
Okay.
So he's got 2 murders he's trying to solve. He's got a bounty hunter on his tail, and he's got a lot of different a cabal of villains and characters he has to go through. So I don't know. Like I feel that like there could be a little more closure in there, but at the same time, I think it's pretty juicy. Like you're gonna get a big bite out of Butch Cleaver, like in those 2 books. And I do have the third one already, like the script typed up. That one's not going to come out for a few years, but there's enough content here, I think, for people to know who it is and whatnot. And the next one will be Butch Cleaver Carnival Freak Show Circus. That's the name of the title. Okay. So that one's going to be pretty crazy. There's going to be werewolves in it and things like that. But so people know what's going on. I will do it, but yeah.
Yeah, this it makes sense that you're a metal guy, and then this is your character.
Yeah, very. There's actually a song too. When you buy the book, I send you the Butch Cleaver metal track, and that's the one I did with my band Nightmare Nemesis, and I try to.
What do you play?
I just do vocals. My buddy Dave plays all the other instruments, does all the other instruments and stuff. I mess around on guitar, but I don't really play. You know what I mean? I don't. It's not something I do. I do come up with melodies, lyrics. And metal, and metal is like, in comics go hand in hand. I'm always trying to bridge the two together. I'm always trying to bring metalheads over to comics.
I gotta say, in my years as a punk rocker, they weren't into comics. The metalheads were all into comics.
Yeah,
I gotta agree with you.
Bombastic stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the punkers are more into like the politics.
Yeah.
Metalheads are more like thinking about like dragons and castles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm all about that.
All the people I play Dungeons Dragons with are metalheads.
100%.
I never sat around the table and be like, I really like Social Distortion and Minor Threat. That's never happened.
Yeah. But I like
Zeppelin
too, though. The punk has the energy and a lot of the aggression and stuff. Like, yeah, I still consider them like metal. Believe it or not, like I wouldn't get into a debate with it too much, but to me, punk's metal. I'm sorry, but it kind of is in a way.
Well,
but don't say that.
Stereotype is when you can't play, you're punk, and then when you learn how to play, you become metal.
Yeah.
It was a bad uniform choice that you know. They were too straight edge for me. They were too preachy for me. But I got the album. I've seen them a few times, and their first album is hardcore, fast 3-chord punk.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, the second album comes out, and it's like, oh, it's a metal album. They learn how to play. That's
what's gonna happen. And then you get like metal bands that are just like, doing one style of singing, of growling or screaming, and then 10 years later you check in on them, the dude's singing and shit. It's just because people get bored and they gotta flex their artistic muscles.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, just imagine you're 40 years old. You're going to be doing the same stuff you did when you were 15, 16.
No. And I don't get mad at bands that do that. And if I want the style, I'm going to go back to that old album they got.
Right. Those albums still exist.
Yeah. And I don't get mad at them. A lot of people get mad at them. Another thing too is, sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, just like I'm mad at Marvel DC, but this is still a phenomenal comic. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I still love this comic, and I cherish these old Marvels and these old DCs. It's, some old Batmans. But like you say to an ex-girlfriend, and we still have Paris, like in Casablanca.
100%, man. Yeah. No, I agree. And the thing with movies and live bands too. Like years ago, I'd be like, dude, I want to see this band live. Hope they sound as good as the record, And now I'm like, dude, I want to see how they just sound live. I want to see how they pull it off, And I want to see them fuck up, and I want to see how they recover and fumble the ball. And how they handle this live. Like for me, like hearing live is just, I love it even more now.
It's cool.
It's weird. I don't know.
I was talking with Cecil on Wednesday. We were talking about live bands, and I said, unfortunately, I think COVID killed my desire to go. Not that I'm scared of COVID, just 2 years of nothing going on. I kind of broke the habit. I'm trying.
Yeah,
it's
last something that
last live show I saw was the Melvins, and I'm trying where I saw them. Oh my God, I was like. I'm definitely getting old. I'm like, okay, you can stop now. You can,
right. A lot of bands too are putting out comics too,
man. And folk Blues Explosion.
Oh, nice.
John Spencer's Blues Explosion. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I want to go to a couple more shows this year. I haven't gone in 10 years.
Yeah,
it's been pretty rough. So
now
I used to go all the time.
But the thing is, by the time I find out about live bands, it's almost too late, and I can't go during the week because I got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. One of my coworkers goes to every sporting event, and every day he comes into work, he's like, "Oh, yeah,
over and stuff."
How the hell can you do it? How can you do it?
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So, what comics did you read growing up?
Oh, for me, growing up, like I said, I was really into the art, but I was really into as far as was Mad Magazine and Cracked, man. I really like that. I really like movies too a lot, and I love seeing how they would characterize and do comedic takes on movies. And I love the way Mort Drucker drew and Jack Davis, and I would always kind of draw people like that, Yeah. But then at the same time, I would my pops and my grandpa, they would show me, and my uncle, they would show me Incredible Hulk and Thor and Cap, all the Avengers and Batman. You know what I mean? So. I didn't really start reading a lot until I got older, but one comic I was big on me was Jerry Ordway and Denny O'Neill's Batman adaptation of Tim Burton's movie. I remember that one. I'd read that. I love that book. And also a big influence on me was Sabretooth by Max Texeira. That
Okay.
Sabretooth. I just love that book. And I just didn't really even think about that as a kid. I was just always drawn to like the imagery and stuff like that, and I would just buy things that I liked. Once I got a little older, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to get Dark Knight Returns and read it. I'm going to get Batman Year One and read it. You know, so that's when I started really getting in there, probably in my late teens. Also in the early teens, though, I was picking up the Max. So that was probably the first comic I was starting to collect and read. So it was the Max, that Image Boom. That was a character I just kind of fell in love with.
Yeah,
I could always draw him anywhere in school or whatnot. You know, it was just a fun character, easy.
Like a unique book. And I have to say, I got it when it came out. And then I'm like, I think I've missed a couple of issues because I don't really understand what's going on. Turns out I had every issue. I just didn't understand what was going on. I reread it. It's I think it's like purposely vague, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Do you, and then you talk about it, be like, that didn't happen. Oh yeah, it did happen.
Yeah.
You know,
it's all over the place.
It's almost like a comic that you could interpret, you know, it's
definitely.
And did it get canceled? Did he finish it on his own? I
think he just kind of stopped, you know, and it just kind of fizzled out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I like the first, like, I don't know, maybe like 10 issues. And then
it's really dark.
In there,
if you read between the lines, it's really dark and really horrible.
Scary. And I like the whole like Pangea thing. I love that, you know, because it's very like,
well, it's a woman escaping a horrible life through dreams. Like it's the way I interpreted it. Like bad things were happening to her.
Yeah, exactly.
She's running away in her mind. That's the way I thought. Like I don't know. I gotta read it again because I'm probably getting it wrong.
Pitt and Spawn, and then I found out about Todd McFarlane, and then once I, found about that, and I was a kid, I couldn't buy every issue. You know what I mean? So I would just get what I could. You know, me and my friends would go to the comic book store. I'd pick up a look dope, and I would buy it. You know, and I would just buy random issues because, like, I only had, sometimes I get an allowance, sometimes I wouldn't. It wasn't like
you're using your leftover lunch money to buy comics.
Yeah, and then like I found out, then they had the HBO show with Spawn, and just Spawn was so cool, man. Just the art, everything about it looked awesome, So I was really into that growing up.
Spawn's big again right now. It's people love it. What is it? Joe Sontag is doing a Spawn show now.
Yeah, dude.
Friday night talking about just Spawn. It's got to be
like,
good.
Yeah.
I haven't picked Spawn in years. I'm actually tempted.
I did a review on their 300th issue. I think that was like 5 years back, and I think Capullo did like a cover or something. I was like, all right, this is cool, man, But it's like, dude, you're sitting on this massive universe. I got all these toys of different Spawns. Why the hell aren't you making 4 Spawn books a month? You know what I mean? There should be a ninja Spawn. There should be a freaking there should be a Viking Spawn, a medieval Spawn every month, and then jumped ahead 5 years later. Some dude in the comments is like, damn, dude, you predicted the future, bro. And dude, he should have been doing this 10 years ago. And and he doesn't.
He's got more money than God, so
Well, I heard interviews with him too. He's like, dude, I got to find artists to do that, and I'll straight up, hey, how long is this going to take you? Is it going to take you 5 years? Let's do it. But you got to commit to the bit, and I just need to know how long it's going to take. Is it going to take a month? Is it going to take 5 years? He has that ability to do that, which I think is awesome. I'm really excited for Liam Sharp's Dark Ages Spawn. Like that's, but
Liam Sharp is a good artist. I just realized we never showed your campaign. You want to bring up your campaign?
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So then I, discovered Lobo later on, and I kind of, obviously it was like a match made in heaven. Metal biker, just really into that. Conan.
You ever read Ghost Rider? Then
Ghost Rider's awesome. I had some of the Garth Ennis stuff. Just a lot of stuff hit me, dude. Like in my late teens and early 20s. Like that's when a lot of things just started really crashing. I really started thinking about a lot of the stuff as far as comics go.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. There we go. You're in control, so you tell us.
Sweet. All right. I don't know if you want me to show the trailer or we could skip that. It's up to you.
Whatever. It's up to you, man. You want to show the trailer? I'll make it big. There we go.
Okay. Let's see if it works. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Scroll down a little bit. The top is cut off. Of course, guitars.
yeah, so that's like the trailer right there. And
is that your buddy on guitar?
Oh yeah, he does all the instruments. I do the vocals too, but I was like, damn, this first like minute of the song would be cool for a trailer, you know. So we chopped that in there, you know. That's the actual song that I'll send whoever backs. And yeah, man, this is the cover right here. Basically, you see Butch, the different incarnations from the bottom as a kid. As he grows older in the storyline, he becomes an enforcer for the White Rat, which is Whitey Ratatouille. And you see him right there. Then you have the skeletal version of him and the more reincarnated version of him as you go up towards the top.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of wanted to do that and kind of go with like a stained glass window kind of, you know, unveiling with like curtains and whatnot using his cape.
Cool.
And this right here is some of the interior art. It's basically kind of like just for people to kind of know about what's going on in the story. I put a lot of artwork.
You got to show a couple of pages to let people know that you're not baiting and switching, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to show them the what they're buying, you know. And so this is from issue 2. Normally, like if you're doing a campaign, like I would say put enough of art up there, but maybe not too much. But this I'm showing both books.
I think I did 4 pages of art on my campaign page.
So I did a bunch on here though too. So like you have that, and then I show them the meat wagon tier, like basically what you're gonna get the first 30 backers. You know, all these different trading cards of characters.
I like the idea of a wanted poster. That's pretty cool.
I had to do it, man. Like if I'm gonna do a poster, like I try to squeeze it into any campaign as possible. And
I did. Yeah, I did. My grandfather, one of my aunts has my grandfather's wanted poster.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, his actual wanted by the British Crown.
That's so cool, man. Should do a book about him. Put that in there.
My cousin is a novelist, and he wrote about him.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And then right here, I got Butch and his uncle. So basically, his parents die, and his parents they raise him in an abandoned slaughterhouse. They open up Cleaver Cuts Company, and again, this story it's a comic, dude. So there's going to be like little. It's going to be fun. You know what I mean? It's going to be.
You grew up reading Mad, so.
Yeah, so it's going to be dark and serious, but then it's going to be kind of fun sometimes too. You know what I mean? And I'm inspired by a lot of movies too. The Spaghetti West, the Hammer films, the old black and white films of Universal monsters. Like there's a lot. I love the 80s slashers. I put it all in there too, and I'm not what's the word, ashamed of it.
Yeah, don't apologize. Yeah, yeah.
And you got Butch right here. His uncle's training him how to
cut. My comic book blatantly has all of my influences of just Bronze Age Marvel comics. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's
totally,
my brand, buddy.
his uncle's showing him how to cut right there, and he's like, "Don't butcher it, Butch." You know, and his uncle's British, you know, and his dad was Irish. So, when I'm writing dialogue, I try to do the spoken thing. It was kind of fun. So I wanted to have a lot of different characters with different races and nationalities as much as I could in the book. So. You write the dialogue, and then you got to go back and you have to destroy the words. You have to rewrite it because I want people to speak the words in a certain manner, you know?
Yeah.
So even if you got like an Irish guy, you might want to go in there and change the writing a little bit, you know, like that, or an English guy, if he's from England, you know, or whatnot, it might change, you know, or from Jamaica.
I have a story that's going to be set in the early 60s, Jamaica.
Yeah.
Kingstown, Jamaica. Yeah. And, I met a guy online. He did a comic book set in the same exact period. And we've been writing back. He goes, yeah, when you're ready to do that, send me the dialogue. And I got a guy that's going to change my dialogue to put in the correct idioms and slang. It's going to be so good.
And I always thought for me, like whenever I read a book, it was always kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's just for me anyways, like I like seeing different slangs and different dialects and whatnot, but you have to go back and respell, kind of create the words. But it's weird when you're writing it because you have to do it properly and things like that. And it's hard actually later on. Then right here, I got Butch. He's basically in the story, there's a preacher pimp. His name is a voodoo doll, right? And everyone in town that he does business with, he makes a voodoo doll of that person. It's kind of like an insurance policy. So if they step out of line.
Oh, that's clever. That's a clever idea. I love hearing little clever ideas. That is. So you move into town, he's talking to you while whittling. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, he's got a little voodoo doll of you.
Exactly.
That is that's oh man, I love that right there. That is a great. What's his name?
The voodoo doll.
That is a great idea.
Thanks, man.
And Marcus just busted my chops already. A New Yorker always has a guy.
I got a guy.
Yeah.
And
Well, I might as well tell you, the guy, he has a comic called Trombone Man. I did a video of it.
Nice.
Yeah. So check out the Trombone Man. It's about 60s Jamaican ska, which I absolutely love.
That sounds fun, And this guy's definitely from he's Caribbean, the voodoo doll. He's from the Caribbean, And I don't really say if he's Jamaican or Haitian or what, but that's a story that I'd like to delve into his past, And in here, the voodoo doll, he's a preacher pimp, right? So he's got this establishment where the front of the building is the House of Love. It's like this church, and he's kind of developed his own religion, if you will, for the town, right? And in the back, it's the dollhouse, where that's his bordello, that's his brothel. And Butch he works for Whitey Ratatouille, which is called the White Rat. That's his boss, and he's a meat tycoon. During the day, he'll have Butch go in the slaughterhouse and be like a meat, like the kind of like the manager of the place, the boss there. But he also sends them out too to collect money from the pimps in different places, for protection, if you will. Yeah. So right here, he's going into the dollhouse, and he's asking for the money, and they're like, filling full of 30 boys, and Butch ain't having it. So he has to take out all these pimps. So you get the clack, clack, clack hammer down, fanning it. Like right here, they're all laying there, and he's like, you pimps are funny, you take money from whores and you give Whitey a cut. Not pocket all of it. It's not light bulb science we're talking here, And then this guy right here, he's like, the White Rat smells the White Rat smells shit coming from you, earners. Here, you can smell it now. So he chops that dude's nose off. Little butchery, he's like a slasher villain to a certain degree. He's getting a kick out of this stuff, and basically telling the bartender that he's got one left in the chamber. I'll be seeing you later. And right here, I'm showing one of the pirates in the story. This is when Butch kind of comes back. He's resurrected. This is Raw Meat Ren. He's got this crazy arm that's part blunderbuss, hook, and like this big sword right there.
I love the word blunderbuss.
So. I do too, man. And I just went full bore with it. I gave him a blunderbuss leg instead of a peg leg. He actually gets in a gun draw with Butch in the story, and he lights his leg basically and fires a cannon through his leg.
Got two of my favorite. Oubliette is just a word I love, and then blunderbuss is another. I don't know. I'm a word guy. There's words that I absolutely love, and those are two of them.
Oh hell yeah, man! Thanks. That's awesome. I think that.
You said I was the only person who knew what an oubliette was.
That I can. I mean, I'm sure I've been on a few streams, and I just you're the only one I could think of that actually knew what it was right from the get. And then right here, this is one of the pirates in the story. He's stuck there because the voodoo doll has a voodoo doll in him, and he's kind of inspired by Blackbeard and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's called Raw Meat Ren, and I ain't gonna lie, that's some of the influences, and they're getting a little battle. I wanted to put a lot of action in here. You got Butch right here, riding on rooftops with his bull Tor. That's like his Batmobile and his Robin, like putting together, So he's a bull boy. He ain't really a cowboy. And in the second book, it's kind of inspired by like movies like The Raid or Dread or Conan's Robert E. Howard's Tower of the Elephant, where you have him starting at the bottom and he's got to work his way up through this like building, And right here, that's 5 Points Fitzpatrick. He's like the dirty like Irish cop in town, that works for the voodoo doll. And Butch has to go through him. And
wait, an Irish dirty cop? Come on, now you're straining credibility over here.
Right. And he's a badass, man. He's from actually New York in the story, and they call him 5 Points Fitzpatrick.
Oh, 5 Points was a bad area. If I as a New Yorker, I did a little bit of research on it. And if you went into the wrong bar and you had the wrong ethnicity, you didn't come out of that bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's also been in the war. He beats the shit out of Butch, because Butch he's a butcher, but he's not like he's not worldly like some of the people in the town, And this and he's not.
Well, you said that he's not all powerful, which I think is a rookie mistake to make us the most powerful superhero in the world.
Yeah.
Unless you're One Punch Man, and we ain't that good,
100%.
And they already did it.
Oh yeah. So like he beats the shit out of Butch like right here, and you'll see. But the thing is, Butch is powerful, and he has an exoskeleton. So like inside of the skeleton, he has this pussy gooey blood, looks like Pepto-Bismol. But he drinks whiskey milk, for the calcium to keep his bones strong, And then right here, this is another scene where he comes into contact with the Zulambi, and this is my kind of my big buff zombie dude from Africa. You know, he's actually a slave, dude, and he's owned by the voodoo doll, and the voodoo doll knows where the whereabouts of his family. It's fucked up, and I'd really like to go into his story too. And him and Butch, you know, Butch tells him, you know, like, so what's your deal, friend? Seen you around town in the shadows of Fitzpatrick and the voodoo doll, and he's like, the voodoo doll knows the whereabouts of my family. If I do business, if I do his bidding, he will set me free of this curse and reunite me with my beloved. And so Butch is basically telling him, you know, he's like, sounds that, yeah, no. And he's like, seems that cursed voodoo doll has everyone in this town by the stones. Well, I reckon we got to fight. I hope you find your kin. I hope you find your kin. I'll go easy on you, you know, and basically, you know, they have to fight right there, you know, like they don't really want to, you know, they just like a mutual understanding.
Yeah,
business.
He's
and he beats the shit out of Butch, and you know, whenever Butch kind of really like dies, if you will, like he'll kind of come back. And I don't really go into the lore. I want to leave it a little mysterious, but you can destroy him. But when he does have to, let's say, die, he forms this bone cocoon, and he has to rehatch from it. And when he does, he turns into this big hulking brute, you know. And it's just kind of like a slab of clay where he has to kind of render back into what he was before. So, and you know, it was a fun excuse for me to draw two big buff dudes going to town to brutish characters, you know, like the Thing versus the Hulk. And another page right here, I actually have this one up for sale. The inks for this on that page.
Cool.
And with that, you'll get the both books and the Meat Wagon tier as well. If you do,
I assume you're doing the inks and the coloring and the lettering also.
Yeah, everything. And right here, that's him fighting the voodoo doll. You know, he spears him through the window, and they're falling down. They're having a little action, you know. And he's got Butch's voodoo doll, and right here, this is another one of the characters. This is this hunchback in the town. He's his name's Vigo Mortis, and he's this crazy like Mexican hunchback. He works for this mortician called the Condor Warlock. Again, that's another character I'd like to go into. But they're working together on like a deal with this spell that they put on. So he's ringing the bells all throughout town. He's running around ringing all the cathedral bells, and Butch has to take on a battle, like a group of undead zombified zombies. So I thought that would have been like a fun thing to draw, was like zombified voodoo dolls, if you will. And that's kind of what happens in the story. And here's like a little page where Butch has to basically take them all on, you know. So
I just love the idea that like you have your fictional city with like its allure and everything. I know Marvel doesn't really do that too well, but you know, DC has Metropolis with its own flavor, and Gotham with its own flavor. And do you read The Goon at all?
I love The Goon. That's another book. So, like, there's so many things that like I have like that I can't like remember all the stuff at once. But The Goon was like
The Goon is so good. And
Hellboy, dude.
Oh, I love Hellboy. I'm a Hellboy freak. And, like The Goon,
I have all the Hellboys.
This town that's like cursed.
Yeah.
And everybody's miserable, and like, you know,
that's a major influence on me too. Like, and that was the one book I always collected. I never stopped, and I still collect. I just dropped the review.
Feel I'm getting the Hellboy Goon vibe from this, and that's a good thing.
And I love those books. Like, and then I found about Hellboy through Guillermo del Toro, and I went and bought all the books, and then the Goon I've collected nonstop, and I still do. And definitely an influence.
Goon comic comes out, that goes on the first of my pile.
Like I like the new stuff. It's pretty good. He's getting a little political though. Like he needs like there's always been a little political, but he's like really like I don't know. But there's some good stuff in there too.
The less I say, the better. But yeah, sometimes I stopped reading articles with him in interviews with him. Dude, I just want to enjoy the Goon.
Yeah, dude, it's very alienating. You know, I follow him on Instagram, and he did a poll. He's like, "Hey guys, do you want black and white comics like more frequently, or do you want me to just do like stories with color?" I'm like, "Bro, black and white comics. You know, like your world is designed perfectly for that. You know, like me, I don't know."
What was the name of the colorist? Jeez, his colorist was perfect for him because he was very subtle.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you need. Like that's what I'm a big fan of too. You know,
Dave Stewart. He colored a lot of the Hellboy, and and I agree with you. He could do black and white, and he could do color comics, and you know, I'll wait because the Dave Stewart on colors. And unless it's Dave Stewart, I don't want colors in the Goon. Did you read what the Ed Gein book that he did?
What Ed Gein done? No, I haven't read it yet.
Oh
There's an indie book called Ed Gein Demon Hunter. It's really good. I recommend it.
Yeah, I got to say I'm a little tired of all of these like Frank Sinatra zombie hunter. Like they.
Yeah.
But the Ed Gein, it's fact.
Yeah, it's solid, right?
And I don't think there's any about. He did a miracle. He actually made you feel a little sorry for Ed Gein.
Well, that's kind of like I was talking. I had him on the stream. Awesome guy, man. Love the guy. And we were talking about this.
You had Eric Powell?
No. Well, I'm actually talking. I was talking about Luther Storm. Like, I recommend that book, dude. Demon Hunter. He's a great writer. Like, I really I know what you're talking about, though. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to do a St. Patrick Snake Slayer book someday. I have that in the works.
Oh, well, that one writes itself. The snakes being like
right.
It
does.
Conan, right. Valorians, right?
Yeah, a little Conan, a little bit of Solomon Kane put together, with the little Irish. That's my thing, Hashtag. But like, yeah, man. So like, that Ed Gein Demon Hunter, great book, man. I highly recommend it. And Christian Rossi's black and white artwork on there is just killer.
He's good artist.
So good. He really just helps sell it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had him on there and we were talking about like how do I redeem Butch Cleaver? You know what I mean? Like, how do I, like, for me, John, I would have Butch Cleaver kind of his origin. I would have put it off 30 years, John, if I could, but I can't. So I was like, all right, well, I kind of want people to feel for him. And I want to maybe, see if, is he like the victim, the villain, or the victor? Is he redeemable? So I wanted to show like why he is what he is. And can you come back from doing all these bad things, and be maybe a good guy, I
think this is my favorite piece of art that I've seen in your comic right here.
Really? Wow. This is the first page I drew too.
That is awesome.
The first book.
I just love that. Is that a poster? I don't know. I'm checking this out. It looks like he's sitting there smoking. Is he smoking?
No. He does smoke, but I don't really show him smoking that much in the book. That's just kind of like his green, like, energy,
Okay. It looked like he was just smoking, checking us out. And there's gargoyles, there's English influence, there's like, just like Victorian, and then we got the Viking dragon ship,
little junk in there,
and Chinese. I just really dig this. This is cool.
I figured I'd show the world, like people know exactly page one what they're getting into. Like, there's definitely like some perspective missteps in there.
It shows you that you're playing with history and yeah, that is really I like that. That's my favorite.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. How long
that was from the first book, so like you'll see, that at least like 2 weeks, because I was like,
he when I was coloring 30 years. 56. I don't think I'm gonna make it to 86. So you got to tell the origin soon.
Oh yeah, and so I did that in the second book, man. So I could just, you know what I mean. If it was a monthly, I would have him fighting adventures. And so you got Butch. He's like this dark phantasm like character. Who's he gonna go up against? You got to have someone that's really like pure, like that's like holy, like. And so I made up this character called the Puritanian, and he's very kind of like Solomon Kane-y, but not 100%. So I'm doing a book with Brian Kreisky on that. He's writing it, so it's in that one's not going to be here. It's going to be more like in a different universe, but also you're going to have darker characters, that's in this world, like the voodoo doll and the white rat, and also maybe Moth Mammon, and this right here is Moth Mammon. This is this light eater, this demon, maybe possibly. He's a very mysterious character. He wakes him up from his bone cocoon, and this is he teaches Butch the powers. This is from the first issue, so I kind of wanted to have issue 2 all at the front, John, at the top of the page, and then as you scroll down, you'll see issue 1.
Yeah.
And when I did the first issue, I wanted to play around with kind of like a Victorian era font, so you'll see like the word balloons have that. I changed the font up, like just made it more classic. Little tweaks here and there. People were like telling me to switch that up, but at the same time, that's how I did it. I'm proud of it. Like I'll I don't like to go back and change things. I just keep moving forward and trying to do the next thing better,
Well, I when I talk with Brian Bow, who does Wolf and Batsy, he says, in your mind, you're never done, and you constantly want to tweak, and you have to fight that. I'm done. Okay, that is what it is, and I got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you start drawing stuff, and then when you're going into lettering, you have to try to keep things in your head of where you're going to put the letters when you're setting up the page, but then you have to say, oh, forget the artist, man. I'm doing the letters now. Forget him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're the one lettering yourself. So like right here, you got different characters, little Easter eggs of different characters in the town of voodoo dolls. And he grabs Butch and Whitey, the white rat, puts a hex on both of them.
So we're over an hour now. So just let's go through the tiers.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Go through the tiers, and here's some of the cards that you'll get. I just put those at the bottom real fast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Show the cards.
Boom, boom, boom.
I do like the wanted poster. That's a great idea.
Awesome. And then the tiers, I think they're just pretty straightforward. This right here is the bone barrel. You get both books. And you also get a 10x7 Bristol head sketch by me of Butch Cleaver, or if you want someone from like the Butch Cleaver verse, just let me know.
Oh, you get that. You unique drawings?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
There you go. There's an example right there. So just something out of my like the Runecutter comics verse. Like if you see like a character on Twitter that I'm doing, maybe like Hell War. Or,
there you go. That's great.
I'll do that. Butch Cleaver.
Value. Personalized freaking piece of art.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
And those are fun. And then right here, you just got the standard Butch Cleaver 2, $25 plus shipping.
How many pages?
That one is Butch Cleaver 2 is 52 pages, I believe.
Okay, 52 pages. Yeah, all right.
And the back matter, I have behind the scenes stuff where I talk about the process.
Reasonable for 52 pages.
I do breakdowns of pages, like from like behind the scenes stuff, of how my process is of setting up a page. This is Butch Cleaver 1. These are all first printings, John. Once I sell out of these, I'm going to do new covers. I'm either going to draw new ones or I'm going to hire new people.
Oh, I thought maybe you were goofy because Pops and I were just talking about how I got to have first printings.
Yeah, I think so too. We're in a collectability market too, so I want people to know that once these sell out, I'm gonna get new covers, and that's always what's going to happen. As far as that goes, as far as the work goes inside, I'm not going to go back and re-letter anything or change any of the art or nothing, And then right here you got issue 1 and 2. If you want to do them both. A lot of people have been picking that one up.
Yeah.
If you guys want a sketch card, this one right here, a sketch card of any of the Runecutter comics characters,
there you go.
$35.
And this is you drawing whatever the customer wants.
Yeah, from the universe, and if if they really want me to draw something else, I'll do that too.
Yeah.
And then this is
just want to clarify so that the people know what they're paying for.
For sure.
Add-on only note. Okay.
It's just like an add-on,
Yeah, you could throw that card into the Gemini mailer with no extra weight. Yeah.
I try to keep everything themed on here, but if like you guys want like a piece of art or something like that, just hit me up on Twitter or a sketch card and we'll work something out. Cool. I usually do like specials like every couple of months where I'll like do like a cover for somebody or something. I'll do like a $60 or $50 special, and
it's the original art
covers, you know what I mean, or a trading card. Yeah, for their campaign or something like that, and I've done that, so it's been pretty fun. This right here is the Voodoo doll. That's the original inks, and it's on 11x17. That's that fight scene that we saw earlier in the show.
That's cool.
And that comes with the book, comes with the meat wagon tier, and
cool.
It's also it comes with both books. The meat wagon tier basically comes with everything, and it ships worldwide, I believe. And this one right here is same thing. It's a little showdown, Butch versus Raw Meat. I really wanted to have pages in the book where there's some action going on, So they're about to fight in the Warg Skull Saloon. And this one right here, this is the Slaughterhouse Butch. Throughout the story, you'll see Butch's attire kind of change as he gets more familiar with his powers. You'll see more bone ornamentation on the suits and whatnot. His hat's going to change. But right when he's first resurrected in the first book, this is how he looks. He's just wearing his street attire from when he was a human. And he has a little payback, let's just say, in the first issue when he's wearing that clothes. It's called the Slaughterhouse Homicide. The first book's broken into 3 chapters. So I made a trading card of that. And that this tier, you're going to get this original art with the special edition trading card that's colored by me that comes with that, plus everything else. That's 11x17. And yeah, man, that's it.
Cool.
That's the book right there. It's basically like a store. So
yeah, good for you. That's cool. All right,
yeah, man.
I'm going to be on later. I forget the name of the channel, but at 12:30, Aldous on the Farm is his name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Aldous is awesome, man. He knows his stuff. He's a great editor too.
Yeah,
I've been reading a lot of the books that he's got, So I highly recommend him for an editor job.
He's like, this is my format. This is what we're doing. I feel like I'm going to be on like a legitimate talk show.
Oh yeah, he knows his shit, dude. And again,
I'm gonna go rest up because I came home from work and started talking to Pops and then right to you. So I actually gonna take a nap before talking to him because I'm fading.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, dude.
No problem. I enjoyed talking to you. It was good. You have some good concepts in this comic. Yeah, Marcus. Yeah, working, man. I understand. Marcus wakes up early like I do.
Me too, man.
I don't mind because Saturday is the one day a week I get to sleep as late as I want. So I don't
turn the alarm off. That's what I do. Then my son comes up and jumps on my head. Daddy, wake up.
Going to bed without the alarm is the greatest feeling in the world.
It's like right. Yeah.
And I sleep with the weighted blanket because I'm crazy. And I put that weighted blanket up and I don't move. And I just,
That's what's up, man.
I just love that. Excuse me. All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, don't be a stranger. I enjoyed talking on your show. I'll come back if you have me, and you come back anytime you want. All right.
Oh yeah, John.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody. And check. Let me put your link up one more time. Everybody, check it out. It's on Fund My Comic. I'm sure if you go to Fund My Comic, you can find my comic. You can find Butch Cleaver, and there's a lot of good stuff, guys.
Support Fund My Comic.
I like Fund My Comic. It is the only site out of the three where I was like scrolling down and just started like, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to pick that up.
Yeah, it's all comic books. Made by comic book creators
by comic book lovers, by comic book fanatics. I can't say that about Indiegogo, and I can't say that about Kickstarter.
I got to make an in-demand store. Like I got to make a storefront. That's what this is. Butch Cleaver 102. It's a store. It's a Runecutter Comics storefront. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Can't really do that anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm going to make a store. Why not? Why make it hard for people to buy your comic?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. But thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you.